All right. Well, thank you. Good to be here. Even in the cold weather, people came out. And it is cold. I'm usually down south by now, but I got up here a little too late this year. So, yes, and we have done cooking shows in every single state in the country now, including Alaska and Hawaii. We've never charged anybody anything. We don't charge churches for airfare, rent-a-cars, anything. Just by donations, God's provided every step of the way. And we do a lot of colleges, quite a few colleges lately, and hospitals and universities, and now sports complexes. So, yeah, I love this. That's a nice setup you got here, it really is. And this year, we're headed off to Africa. We've got half a dozen events over there in Botswana. We leave on the 15th, and we'll be over there doing some events, 1,000 people at each event. So that'll be kind of an interesting series over there. And of course, touring the country, I really get a chance to see what a nutty, upside down world this is. And it's getting nuttier by the day. Oh man, it's just getting crazy out there. My wife and I, we went to one of those Ross stores. You know, they got clothes and furniture and things. And they had a beautiful framed poster in there. Almost bought the thing. It actually said, "Never trust a skinny chef." And I thought, wait a minute now, shouldn't this say never trust a fat chef? I mean, I don't know where they get these phrases from, but I couldn't have said that 70 pounds ago. I've already lost 70 pounds going on a vegan, vegetarian, yeah, plant strong. But I do want to point something out, okay? Excess weight comes from excess sugars, excess fats, excess calories, lack of exercise. That's where you're going to get the excess weight. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the excess cholesterol and saturated fats, because that's where you're getting the clogged arteries, the blocked cells, and the killer diseases. Okay, there's a big difference between the two. And you don't want to judge people because they're overweight by some stupid world standard, thinking they're unhealthy. It's not always the case. There's a lot of people that are so-called overweight that are perfectly healthy. And a lot of people that are overweight are actually way healthier than the slender people, whose arteries are all clogged up with the cholesterol and fat. But our brains are indoctrinated by this nutty society to automatically judge people by what they look like on the outside rather than who and what they are and what's going on the inside. Just the world we live in. Of course, if you want to lose a quick 20 pounds, you want to lose a quick 25 pounds, just wear black. I mean, I do things the easy way. I'm doing a bean pot over here, okay? Black beans and pinto beans. Now, what I did was I brought this to a boil and I shut it off. Just let it rest a little bit. You'll see it foam up. And then I just drained the water and filled it back up again. So that's your fast forward to soaking beans overnight. You can do it really fast with hot water. And it's about half full right now, but we've got to get some flavor in there. Got to have some flavor. So I'm going to do onions, carrots, and bell peppers today. Lots of different vegetables you can use, celery, maybe jalapeno. I mean, you can really kick it up a notch here. And then spice-wise, let's do some chili powder and cumin, a little garlic, onion, and salt. And I'd like to share with you a little bit about cooking with ratios. If you learn how to cook with ratios, you're going to have a lot more success when it comes to your cooking. So what we're going to do here is just put in 1 part cumin and 2 parts chili powder. Now that 1-to-2 ratio works really good for a lot of your Southwest flavors. Some people don't like a lot of cumin, so maybe your ratio would be 1-to-3. But I'm doing 1 part cumin, 2 parts chili powder. Now I'm not making chili though, okay? If I was making chili, I would actually have to double or triple the amount of spice going in there, but it would still be that same ratio, see? So 1 part cumin, 2 parts chili powder. Now we can do the same thing with the garlic and onion. And so we're going to do 1 part garlic and 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion. Measure everything precisely, okay? And I know what people are saying too. They're like, why is he putting a bunch of onion powder in there? He just put a whole bunch of onions in there. Well, the reason is because they taste completely different. Now, technically, there's 5 flavors to an onion. You've got raw, translucent, golden, brown, and dark brown. That's the 5 official flavors of an onion. Every one of them tastes completely different. So depending what your recipe says, you'd have to saute them or water saute them or broil them, to get to that coloring. And it will give you a different flavor. So, and then we'll put a little bit of salt in here too. A little sea salt. Pink Himalayan salt is pretty good. Celtic, I like the Celtic salt. That's what we do at home a lot. Now, how many of you have ever used bulgur wheat before? B-U-L-G-U-R. Hardly anybody. All right. Bulgur wheat, B-U-L-G-U-R. It's a whole grain. And it's cut, so it makes it really easy to cook. And so we're just going to put this in. Now, this is a ratio situation, too, because I've got 1 part bulgur wheat and 2 parts of water. Kind of like rice. You know how you do a 1-to-2 ratio. Depends on the rice, of course. But and then what we're going to do today is what is called fusion cooking. If you don't know what fusion cooking is, that's where you take different cultures from around the world and you mix them together. Hawaii would be the #1 fusion capital of the world. People migrated from all over the world there. So since we have a Southwest flavored on the bean pot, I'm just going to make this a little Asian flavor just by adding a little bit of soy sauce to it. So, well, oh, you want more? Okay. More? Really? But it's low sodium. Isn't that what people do? It's a big pot. My big pots throw people off a little bit up here, but it'll be fine. All right. Well, I guess I can tell you a little bit about myself. Don't try this at home now. I grew up in South Dakota, a little town of 300 people, so I'm used to cold weather. Went to college up in Tacoma, Washington, and back when I was in college, I worked at close to 100 different restaurants. And once I learned everything one restaurant was doing, I'd go to the next, even if it was less pay, because I just really loved to see what people were doing. And after college, I went to go check out culinary art schools, and I found out I knew more than the instructors did. So I never went to culinary art school. I have been offered jobs as an instructor at different universities, but ended up going to Las Vegas, Nevada, and got a job as a sous chef. And then at the age of 24, I was the youngest executive chef ever of a casino in Las Vegas. Yeah, 24 years old. Big events. My biggest event was 30,000 people for one event. Biggest series I did was 1.2 million plates of food in 9 days. This is the size of my dishwashing team, yeah, for one shift. And but that's the kind of volume we did. And so anyway, okay, the bulgur wheat is boiling. I started with boiling water, so it came back pretty quick. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to set this aside. We're going to let its own energy do the cooking. And then in 45 minutes, we're ready to eat. And that way I don't have to worry about burning it. It comes out perfect every time. And then right here, we're going to make cheese out of potatoes and carrots. So we just got to boil off some potatoes and carrots here. Some of you may have had cashew cheese. I mean, I like cashew cheese, but man, those cashews are expensive. And they're really high in fat. This is 1/4 the fat and about 1/4 the price. So you're saving a lot of money and you're eating healthier. So anyway, back in Las Vegas, I started working for the Federal School Lunch Program. And with the Federal School Lunch Program, I had 2 properties. I was with juvenile detention and a school. Not one single time did we ever get fresh fruits and vegetables. Mostly what we got was bags of eggs and blocks of cheese, boxes of meats, a lot of pre-made stuff, you know, the pre-made grilled cheese sandwiches in cellophane and cholesterol dogs with the chili and cheese and everything. And we're forced to feed this to the kids. Hasn't changed much over the years. Now, I did like what Michelle Obama was doing when she went into the Federal School Lunch Program and really rattled some people around and said, hey, we need to do something better for these kids. The problem is you did not have the intelligent people in those positions that knew enough about nutrition. It actually ended up becoming worse, a lot worse. So yeah, great intentions, but horrible implementation, which is typical of a lot of governments nowadays. And so I was over in Michigan last year. Oh, here it is. This is from the New York Times, okay? And we're talking 2011, so that's 8 years ago, okay? 2011. At that time, Congress has officially declared pizza as being a vegetable on the federal school lunch program. Yeah, pizza's a vegetable now. It's got tomato sauce. Lobbyists spent $5.6 million buying off Congress. They got by cheap. So I was up in Michigan last year, public middle school. We had about 100 people at this public middle school, and I did a video for television. On their menu, they have pizza as the alternative meal every single day of the week. So your kids can now go to school and have pizza every day of the week. Tally it up as a vegetable. I don't know what's next, but I'm thinking maybe we could take those chicken nuggets and maybe we could start calling those a grain, huh? Right? I mean, they're breaded. Yeah, pretty soon all the kids will be vegetarians. Just recategorize the food. So what they're doing. So anyway, I started working for Sodexo. I don't know if any of you know who Sodexo is, but they're the largest hospitality management team on the planet. 500,000 employees. I mean, they're as big as Walmart. And I was an executive chef for them, and my job was to open up new hospitals. And they'd fly me into town, I'd hire the crew and train the crew, and in between hospitals, I had 2 hospitals in Vegas that I'd be at regularly, and usually just take care of the doctor's lounges and all the VIP things. But here I was, pushing 320 pounds. I had a 48-inch waist. And I'm looking at myself saying, man, I gotta do something or I'm gonna end up being one of these people in this hospital. And all the doctors and nurses were telling me that most of the people were in that hospital because of their diet. And it usually came down to the cholesterol and the saturated fats. So I told the doctors one day, I said, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go 40 days, no red meat. And they were like, yeah, go for it. So that's what I did. I went 40 days, no red meat. Now the first 5 days was pretty rough. I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this. But I stuck to it. Next 30 days I was fine, had no cravings for red meat. And I thought, oh, this is easy after you get over that little hill. And then all of a sudden, the last 5 days, I started craving red meat again. And I'm like, how is this? I just went 35 days without any red meat. Now I'm gonna crave a hamburger? And the closer I got to my 40 days being up, 1 day left, and I'm calling my friends saying, hey, we're hitting the prime rib buffets this weekend. Which we did. It's Vegas. Okay, we get all you can eat prime rib for $4.95. But I couldn't figure out the problem. How, after 40 days, could I be craving red meat this much? And so I figured out the problem. Well, actually I figured out the solution, okay? And that is that we need to make sure that our minds are in control of our bodies instead of our bodies being in control of our minds. Amen? See, this is what's going on out there. People are giving in to their bodily cravings in more ways than one, but especially when it comes to food. They just give the body whatever the body wants, and then they wonder why we're so unhealthy. We need to make sure the intelligent part of our body is making those good choices on a daily basis. And doctors were loving it. I had Dr. Prabhu from India comes up to me and says, Mark, I won $100 off you this week. It's Vegas. They gamble on anything. But he told me, you got to get off the milk and cheese. He said that's the worst of anything. In fact, Framingham Medical Studies, let me say, Cornell University, they said if you're going vegetarian, so you're not eating any meats, but you're consuming milk and cheese, they said that's like going from 60 cigarettes a day down to 50 cigarettes a day. You're not doing your body that much good. You're actually better off getting off the milk and cheese. Now that's Cornell University's quote. So I told the doc, I said, I'm gonna go all vegan, no animal products. But this time I did not put that block wall out there. I said, I'm just gonna get on this path and keep taking steps. Within a couple weeks, I started feeling better. Within a month, I was like, man, I'm losing on weight, hitting a new hole in my belt loop, and that's when I really started getting excited. I would sit down with the doctors every chance I had to pick their brains about nutrition. And and doctor said, come in and get a blood test. Let me share this with you real quick. We got time. I got a little before and after here for you. My Let's see, I've got a couple years difference here. Let's see. 60 pounds difference in between these two tests. My cholesterol, everything would have been worse, but I was already getting healthy. Okay, I'm going to give you the actual results though. Cholesterol was at 263, probably well over 300, but officially 263. Now it's at 118. Triglycerides 274, now they're at 91. HDL went up, LDL went down, H for higher, L for lower. My LDL went from 159 down to 59. Dropped 100 points. I mean, everything on here was perfect. Calcium, 9.2, actually on the high side. Doctor says, you're eating a lot of salads, aren't you? I was like, yeah, all the time. That's where you get your calcium. Eat those greens. Most people are never going to have a problem not getting enough calcium anyway. It's very rare. But every body is a little bit different. I do understand that. My protein, 7.0, perfect. Everybody's like, where am I going to get my protein? Baked potatoes, 3.9 grams of protein. Peas have 9 grams. Lentils, 16 grams of protein per serving. All your beans are high protein. Broccoli, 5.8 grams of protein. Brown rice is 4.8. Even a banana has 1.2 grams of protein. Look, nobody is ever going to have a problem not getting enough protein. It doesn't happen. Now, there's a book right here called Nature's Robots, okay? This is the entire history and science of protein. Everything you can possibly imagine is in here, all the way down to enzymes, and it shows where when they determined how much protein the body needs, Dr. William Rose was the head of the study. They took the highest amount of protein anybody would ever possibly need. Multiple universities, they went to the extreme. The highest amount of protein anybody would ever need, and they doubled that. That was their recommendation to the World Health Organization, who took it and doubled that and sent that off to the USDA and the FDA and every other country in the world. Now, and here's the statement from the World Health Organization's website. The average man needs 55 grams a day. The average woman needs 44, when it should be 11, okay, according to the science. But just according to their statement, 55 for men, 44 for women, national average in America is 120 grams a day. So we're almost 3 times the amount of protein we're supposed to be having according to their numbers, over 10 times the amount of protein we're supposed to be having according to the actual science. And now they know for a fact, too much protein causes kidney damage, and too much protein causes kidney stones. And ever since the last 60 years, then they've been telling everybody, oh, you got to get more protein and you got to get it from animal products. Kidney stones have skyrocketed. And I hear they're very painful. And now, here in America, you cannot build dialysis centers fast enough. And it's largely due to the animal protein. Now, the federal government's known this for 25 years, that renal patients, kidney failure, renal patients, if they put them on low protein diets, they live years longer than people on high protein diets. That's from the federal government's website. Here's the newest information though. Journal of American Medical Association. This is a 26-year study. High animal protein is positively associated with mortality, while high plant protein is inversely associated with mortality, even in people with multiple lifestyle risk factors. In every single case, animal protein kills you quicker, plant protein makes you live longer. So there's a big difference between these two proteins. I gotta get back to work here. I'm going to make some salad dressing out of bananas here. Now look, I could give you all the science. There is mountains of science, especially over the last 20 years. And I could give you all the statistics that show that people that go on a plant-strong, whole food, low-fat diet are by far the healthiest people on the planet. But what I like to do is do things in a fun, logical way for everybody to relate to. So let me ask you the question here. What are the 3 nutrients? We'll take the top 3 nutrients that society's always telling you that you need more of. Well, it's going to be protein, right? I gave you that one. Calcium, and probably vitamin D rounds out the top 3. Oh, you got to get more calcium. You got to get more vitamin D. You got to get more protein. Okay. So what are the 3 nutrients? Basically the only 3 nutrients you get out of animal products. Protein, calcium, and vitamin D. The exact same 3. Now, isn't that a coincidence? And even though we have the highest consumption of animal products in the history of the planet, how can we be the lowest on those exact same 3 nutrients? See, it's just not possible. And according to the science, it's not true. See, the reason we believe this, we live in a fragmentized society. And as long as you hear things enough times, you're going to believe it. And the better the lies are presented, the more often you hear it, the more absurd the truth is going to sound. And it's not necessarily that these people are lying, even though quite a few of them do. A lot of these corporations hire ghost companies to lie for them, discredit competition, to funnel money into their corporation. And it's all about money. But I'll give you a perfect example. Go to the grocery store. Everywhere you look in the grocery store, high in vitamin D, fortified with calcium, protein. Whatever product has the most protein gets the sale. See, it's a competition for your pocketbook. And we see this over and over and over and over, and we think, oh, I must need more. There was a doctor on television last year, and he was saying, now you know you need more protein. I was like, more than what? You know, what kind of doctor is going to diagnose you looking at a camera lens? He's getting paid to propaganda information out there. That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, doctor. Well, it must be true. I heard it on Facebook. That's where I get my quality news. It's just a nutty world we're living in. Okay. So bananas and brown mustard, how's that sound? All right, now that wasn't a very good reaction. How about bananas and red wine vinegar? Man, you guys are getting tough here. Now, some people don't like the vinegars, so you can always use lemon juice. I'll put a little of both in there. It's non-fermented, non-alcoholic. The other thing I like to do is my secret ingredient here, a little shot of cumin. And this is called pairing because I've got cumin in the entree, so you'll have a little bit in the salad dressing, gives that little essence that carries over. So, and then we got to add just a couple drops of water, just enough to get this thing going, just a couple drops of water here. Give this baby a blend. Just like that. Did I put honey in there? No. I'm sure glad I'm paying attention today. That would have really, just say when. Are you sure? Okay. Man, that would have been very different. All right, just like that, salad dressing out of bananas. Doesn't turn brown. We've had it in the fridge for weeks. But I teach concepts, okay? These ingredients is what you find in a lot of salad dressings, don't you? Exactly. So all I'm doing is using those bananas as a thickener. You can do this with any salad dressing. Take regular Italian dressing, put a banana in there, boom, you got creamy Italian. Kids don't like bananas, they'll never know they're there. So, yeah, works great. All right, boom. Oh, I got one. I got to finish my blood test or I'm going to forget. I'm a little hypoglycemic and ADHD and a couple other things. I can't. Wow. They tell me I'm the David Astreek of the kitchen. Is that? You know, David, he grew up like 7 miles away from me too. So, what are we looking at? Glucose, 106 in the high zone, almost pre-diabetic. Now it's 83, right where it's supposed to be. And the Journal of American Medical Association put out a statement. 50%, we'll put a line right about here. 50% of the population in America is now diabetic or pre-diabetic. 50%. That's an epidemic. And what do? Give them a pill. Send them home. I'll show you how to reverse diabetes in just a couple weeks. I'll do that later on today. I got to remember to do that now. Now, this is the American Diabetes Association's website. If you're all type 2 diabetics in here, 20% get kidney disease. 65%, that's like all that people over there, 65% of type 2 diabetics get permanent nerve disease and amputations. 65%, chop off your toes and then your foot and then your leg. That's what they do. 20,000 people a year lose their eyesight just from type 2 diabetes, and 75% die of heart disease or stroke. Now, the reason I point that out is because I'm the youngest of 6 kids. All my brothers and sisters are 300 to 400 pounds. They're all on meds, high blood pressure and diabetes. My sister died at the age of 54 from cancer. I have 2 brothers over 400 pounds. Now, my parents fed us bacon and eggs every morning. Hamburger Helper, hamburgers, ice cream, milk, chicken, cheese, big cinnamon rolls every weekend with all the butter and sugar. And so I'm just really thankful that God showed me a better way to eat, or I'd be right there with them. And now the one thing I was low on, though, just to be thorough, I like to be thorough, was B12. And it was at 329, so 250 is the rock bottom. So the doctor does have me doing that B12 supplement. And I did some homework, found out that 50 years ago, 75 years ago, nobody had B12 deficiencies like they do today. Even vegans and vegetarians and healthy eaters. So my question was like, why do we have B12 deficiencies today? Found out it's because we're washing our food too much. I know you got to wash your food. Okay, I understand the argument there. But the thing you want to realize is that B12 is actually a bacteria that grows on rooted plants. And when you peel your potatoes and your carrots, you're actually peeling away B12. That's why I did not peel these potatoes and those carrots. I want those nutrients. In fact, years ago, Mom and Pop, they just chop up the food and throw it in the pot. They weren't all paranoid peeling and scrubbing everything. In fact, when I was a kid, we'd be out in the garden, we'd just rub the dirt off the carrots and eat them out in the garden. We weren't bringing them in to get them sterilized. But this is the world we live in today, so. And just because I like to go the extra mile, I was thinking about this. And I was like, well, where do the cows get their B12 from? It's the grass and the roots and everything. That's where the cows get their B12 and pass it along to humans. And I'm thinking about this, and I said, you know what? If it's that easy for cows to pass B12 onto humans just from the grass that they're eating, how easy is it for them to pass along those dozens of injections that they get? Some of those milking cows now get more estrogen in 1 year than women produce in an entire lifetime. And it's in the milk and the cheese and the meat when they chop it up. Then you wonder why some kids are so messed up. By the way, I do wash everything. Yeah, they're getting massively bombarded by all these chemicals and hormones and estrogens and synthetic this and that at a really young age, which is a real problem. So anyway, I could give you all the gruesome stuff. There's so much of it. It would be fun. But what I want to do today is really give you some strategies about some things you can actually do to get healthy. And probably one of the best things you can do is start by eating more water. And yeah, I got it right. No, I know you drink more water. You got to eat more water. What foods have the highest water content of anything? Watermelon, celery, cucumbers, lettuce, beans have one of the highest water contents of anything. Rice and oats. We don't think about that, but we rehydrate them, see? And technically, they are officially one of the highest water contents of anything. And the lowest water content, meat and cheese is right down there at the bottom. If you look at fiber, what foods have the most fiber? It's all your plant strong. How much fiber is in animal products? None. Yeah, any way you look at it. The other thing I do is I make sure that I have my biggest meal for breakfast, a smaller lunch, and a smaller dinner, which is the exact opposite of what society's doing. Society, they do their smallest meal for breakfast, a bigger lunch, and a bigger dinner. You actually eat way too much food that way. And here in America, we just eat way too much. Have your biggest meal for breakfast. You're going to eat less. It's going to save you a lot of money because you're eating less. Save you a lot of calories because you're eating less. The other big plus when you have your biggest meal for breakfast, you're going to have more energy throughout the day. I have more energy now than I did back when I was in my 20s. And when you have more energy, now you're going to maintain better muscle, better joints, better ligaments. So it really helps give you a much better longevity in your older years. So it's really a win-win in every way, shape, and form. Long shot. Oh, woo. Oh, have any of you ever heard of this word called supper? Yeah. Well, because it used to be breakfast was the biggest meal, and then dinner was the biggest meal at midday. If you remember the Waltons days, dinner was the biggest meal at midday, and then supper was the smallest. And then lunch came into the picture, and lunch said, dinner, I'm kicking you out of here. And dinner said, yeah, I'll just go take over supper's position. Now this happened over generations, so nobody noticed it. But very slowly, dinner took the biggest meal with it to be the last meal at the end of the day. That's how you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner now. In fact, do any of you even know the definition of the word supper? Snack or sup. They knew all along it was supposed to be the smallest meal at the end of the day. So, yeah. What do you do for breakfast? Lots of healthy carbs. Definitely got to eat more carbs. My brother, Paul, he had a cholesterol level of 1,000. Had a heart attack. He went in the hospital. They put in a stent. Next morning for breakfast, they actually gave him bacon and eggs. And they did that a few times with him. I finally went to go see him. I stayed with him a little over 3 weeks, put him on an all-vegan, plant-strong lifestyle. And in 3 weeks, with no statins, his cholesterol went from 900 down to 300 and change. He felt better. He was getting color back in his skin. His eyes were clearing up. He was like, wow, I can't believe this. And I had lost like 50 pounds at the time. Now, it's been, I think, 6 years for him, maybe 7 years now. He's got his cholesterol down to 170, and he's lost over 100 pounds. And he is off even his high blood pressure meds. So he's doing good. He's still got a ways to go, but he's doing good. Now, what I did for him is what you all need to do, and that is get your kitchens designed for success. Look, if everything in your kitchen is unhealthy and you bring home a carrot, how long is it going to be in the fridge? Maybe turns to rubber, gets like slimy or something. Yeah, you'll put it in those drawers down below where good intentions go to die, right? The little caskets that you open up and see if anything's alive in there. Yeah, I know what those things are. There's probably something alive in there, but it's not something you should be eating. And you want to wash your food before it goes in the fridge. Why are you going to put dirty produce into a clean refrigerator? If you do that, your brain is going to be saying, oh, I don't want to mess with it. I got to wash it. I got to clean it. I got to cut it. I got to prep it. Wait, I got potato chips. That's what your brain will do. Or at least if it's washed and prepped and ready to eat, then your brain is saying fast food, I can just grab and go. So I showed my brother how to set up his entire refrigerator just like a salad bar. Trays that come out with Tupperwares of everything that's washed and cleaned and ready to eat. He can make a salad in 30 seconds flat. Showed him how to make tofu egg salad and chickpea salads and hummus without the oil. And so he can make wraps in 30 seconds flat. So you got to have your kitchen designed for success like that. Prep, when you prep for days, weeks, even months ahead of time. Put this in the freezer in Tupperware so you can just pull them out, a couple at a time. The other thing I did for him, which I've got an awesome oatmeal station at home. Everyone should have an oatmeal station. Mine is so cool. I've got regular oats and steel cut oats and quick oats. I've got grits and cream of wheat, hard red winter wheat and brown rice. That's in my oatmeal station because I use that for crock pots overnight. Some homemade granolas. On the next shelf, I've got containers like this with raisins and craisins and dried blueberries and almonds and pecans and walnuts and ground flaxseed and wheat germ and hemp powder and coconut flakes and just all these fun toppings. We've got spice jars in there. Cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, apple pie, and pumpkin pie. Get the pumpkin pie spice right now, apple pie spice. It's our new batch for the year, so it's always fresh this time of the year. So it's really good. And if you want to make oatmeal really fast and easy, just boil up some hot water, take any bowl, fill it about half to 3/4 full of oats. Now you cannot use the steel cut oats if you're going to do it the fast way, because those take about 25 minutes to cook. But have you all seen the quick steel cut oats? Do you have Aldi's stores around here? Okay, Aldi's carries the quick steel cut oats, and the price is right. And I usually put all different types of oats in there. Add whatever toppings, whatever sweeteners, maple syrup, honey. Brown sugar is not health food. Stevia is my favorite. I'll take stevia any day. But you just hit it with boiling hot water. You give it a stir. You come back 5 minutes later, and it's ready to eat. No microwave messes, no dirty pots on the stove. Everybody can make a different oatmeal every day of the month. Now, on my website, I've got a video vault. And I actually have videos up there now. I just posted them showing you exactly how to set up your kitchens for success. Refrigerators and freezers and cupboards and everything. So you can take a look at those. Now, my other brother, Wayne, he's not that interested in getting healthy. He owns a cattle farm up in Wyoming. Now, he weighs 400 pounds too. Big guy. My wife and I went to go up and see him, and he's got a feed truck, and he goes behind the house. And as soon as those cows hear that feed truck, boy, they all come running over. And my wife and I will step back from these big animals, They move fast too, but big old Wayne, he goes and gives those cows a big hug and scratches their ears and kind of wrestles with them. Hey, little cow, how you doing? They're kind of like pets to him. Till he decides which one he wants to eat. That's, what he does. And he chops them up for an assisted living facility that he has over there too. And now he did call me a while back though, and he said, Mark, we've been eating veggie burgers the last few weeks. And I thought, great. Maybe he saw me lose 70 pounds now. My brother Paul loses 100. I thought maybe Wayne was going to get healthy. He's eating veggie burgers. And then he said, Mother Cow, I named him Black Bean. He said, next month we're having black bean burgers and black bean steaks. I was like, no, that doesn't count. Another thing you want to do is read those labels. When I first started getting healthy, what I would look at is that 0% cholesterol. That's just what I did, and I was eating a lot of potato chips. Then I started reading the fine print, made with milk and whey and cheddar and cream, loaded with fat, loaded with calories, and finally I said, that's it, no more chips. I'll do the corn chips with the corn oil and salt, but I started buying nuts, and I'll get craisins and raisins and peanuts and make my own blends with almonds and pecans, and I found out I would have went through at least $60 worth of potato chips before I go through a $10 jar of nuts. Saves me money. I'm snacking healthier. I'm not a big snacker anyway. My meals are pretty scheduled, so I don't eat between meals. That takes a little while to develop that practice. Now, don't eat the Planters dry roasted peanuts, though. These are now made with pork. Yeah. New labels. Came out about 3 years ago. This is the new label. The old label used to say peanuts, peanut oil, and sea salt. New label, peanuts, sea salt, sugar, MSG. So it's got your excitotoxin in here. Gelatin, your pork gelatin. If it says K gelatin, then it's kosher. K gelatin will be made with beef bones or seaweed. If you look on yogurt, it'll say K gelatin. That's made with seaweed. Still has about 10 more ingredients here. But the front still says, made with pure sea salt. Even though there's 15 ingredients in there, 1 inch away, this is what they get away with, made with pure sea salt. Hormel chili, 98% fat-free. Boy, that sounds really healthy. 27% cholesterol, 51% sodium, 2 portions in a can. You got to look at portion sizes. We had a bag of chips last year, did a video. 7 chips was a portion. It's like 1 bite. But they could say under 60 calories. Now this is chili, Hormel chili, but on the front label, it's a picture of a salad. Let's put a salad on the front label of chili. Jif with omega-3. Have you noticed the last couple years, all the omega-3 advertisements? Everybody's low on omega-3. You better take this pill, and you better go buy a gallon of fish oil and guzzle it every morning. Nobody is ever going to be low on omega-3. You get omega-3 out of rice. 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed has all the omega-3s you would need for the entire day. But they know it sells product. See, that's why they're pushing it, because they're fearing you into buying it, because otherwise you're going to die. And this is Jif with omega-3. This one's actually made with anchovies and sardines. Well, I mean, if you like anchovies with your peanut butter sandwich, it's already in there, so might save you a step. And here's the point that you got to get. This is for the type 2 diabetics. Calories is 190, calories from fat is 170. So this is 75% calories from fat, 70% calories from fat. The best doctors in the world, and I've got dozens of them, I put a couple on the back of the flyer, they'll tell you that your calories from fat on a daily consumption needs to be less than 10%. I've seen them down to 5. Once in a while up to 15. But the bottom line is if you're eating stuff that's 50, 75, 100% calories from fat, weight gainers for one, plus it activates the liver to produce more cholesterol, and this is the #1 major cause of type 2 diabetes, including olive oil and coconut oil. Wait, I heard that's a good fat. Well, coconut oil is 12% good fat, 88% bad fat. But they did a great job of marketing it. And I do understand good fats, okay? And I understand short chain and long chain. You know, eat the coconut instead of the coconut oil. Eat the olive instead of the olive oil. The avocados, you know, that's a better solution to get your good fats. And the problem here, let me share with you, there's a book on the back of the flyer called Reversing Diabetes. Now, Dr. Neil Bernard, he's on the back of that flyer. He just put up a video on his website showing exactly how this works. And we have these valves all over our cells. They're in our pancreas, all over our body, and there's a blockage. So you need that insulin, which forces those doors open and close and open and close. When if you just get rid of the blockage, which is all the fats and oils, then your body's doing the job it's supposed to be doing, and you don't need all that insulin. And he shows where people who have been taking 20 units of insulin a day for 20 years can reverse their type 2 diabetes in a matter of 2 weeks. That fast to reverse type 2 diabetes. But it's because of the fats and the oils. Now, the doctors will tell you that it's because of carbs and sugar. It's not. They're teaching you how to live with type 2 diabetes, not how to reverse it. And carbs and sugar is the reaction that you have because you've got type 2 diabetes. But it doesn't mean it's the cause. You've got the cause of something, and then you have the reaction to a number of different things. See, and it's because of the fats and the oils. Now look, I'm not here to be the food police or anything. I don't care if you want to put a little coconut oil on a dessert or olive oil on a salad. We do that once in a while, you know. But type 2 diabetics, if you eliminate all those fats and oils, and including all the meats and cheeses and milk and everything that's loaded with fat and oil, yeah, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, completely off your meds, and another 2 to 3 weeks, your type 2 diabetes has been completely reversed, and you can actually get back to a normal diet, healthy. What was I looking for? Oh, I love quoting the government when I can. This is the federal government's website, U.S. Census Bureau. This is done, I think. Let me check this. Yeah, the U.S. Census Bureau. Vegetable oil alone. Okay. National average in America for vegetable oil alone just went up over the last 5 years from 10 pounds. Now it's 10.2 pounds per person per month. That's this much vegetable oil that the average person consumes every month. Well, actually, this is only 9 pounds, so you'd have to add to it. But it's literally 43,000 calories, over 1,200 calories a day that the average person consumes just in vegetable oil. This is why we have a problem, is because we're getting massively bombarded by oils. And as that's been going up, so does type 2 diabetes. You get rid of the oils. Even type 1 diabetics have more success managing their type 1 diabetes if they just get rid of those fats and oils. Now, last year they came out with new labels. I don't know if you all know this. New labels came out last year. This is a new one. The only thing that was removed from the new label, and this was back in 2016, okay, but they all had to comply by July 26th of last year. The only thing that was removed from the label is the calories from fat. The number one problem that we have in society today, the number one cause of type 2 diabetes, and that's the only thing they removed from the label. I call this the dumbing down of America. And these manufacturers spent a ton of money to make sure that you don't know what the calories from fat is on this label. You know the Sambra hummus? You'd think it's healthy, right? 75% calories from fat. That's why they don't want you to know this. Because, I mean, they're going to make billions when you don't know this. Now, there is a way to determine what the calories from fat is on the label, but you have to do some math, okay? You got to take the total fat. See, they still have the total fat here. Multiply that times 9. That will give you the calories from fat. And then you'll have to compare that to the calories per serving to see what the percentage is. But how many people are going to know how to do that? You know, they just don't. So you just take the total fat, multiply it times 9, that will give you the calories from fat. So, all right, I got to get this cheese done. If you came in late, we're making cheese out of potatoes and carrots. So I got them boiled off here, and now we're going to make the cheese. There's another really good book on the back of the flyer, because I like to be thorough, called The End of Overeating, Dr. David Kessler. He was actually the head of the Food and Drug Administration. Double doctorate, real genius guy. He was busting people for doing illegal stuff, Dr. David Kessler. He found out that the manufacturers of food hire scientists to find out how to make that food as addictive as possible. That's why they're changing all these labels. You ever eat something, you put it away, and within 30 seconds you're opening it up to eat more? These are specifically designed for addiction. Restaurants, all the fast food restaurants hire scientists. Even the hamburger bun alone in McDonald's is specifically designed for addiction. Restaurants like TGI Fridays and Chili's hire scientists to make every dish as addictive as possible. And they can now make the food so addictive that it will trigger your endorphins, even if all you do is see a picture of that food a month later. And they can do it simply by a combination of sugar, oil, and salt. This is why we're getting massively bombarded by oils, because they know it creates addictions. And they want your money. So just look out for those triggers of sugar, oil, and salt. You're going to see them everywhere. All right, potatoes and carrots. We're going to add some McKay's chicken-style seasoning. This is all vegan. Should be able to get it at any health food store. Garlic and powder and onion. We can do the 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion. And measure, yeah. One thing you'll notice, people love my recipes because I'm a production chef. I'm used to cooking for thousands of people. So my recipes are perfect the way they are, but you got lots of wiggle room for variations. And then right here is nutritional yeast flakes, which is a derivative of molasses, high in B12. Has anybody ever put this on popcorn? Okay, yeah, my wife does that. And if I did hot air popped popcorn with nothing on it, hot air popped popcorn, nothing on it, nobody's going to want to eat it. And if I put nothing but salt on hot air popped popcorn, you're still not going to be that happy with it. And if I did nothing but olive oil on hot air popped popcorn, you'd be like, what is this? But if we did salt and oil, or like that salted butter, right? Salt and oil. Man, you'll be picking out every little half kernel. You can't, well, there's another little piece. I got to get that one too, yeah. And if we did the kettle corn with the sugar, oil, and salt, man, you'll be down at the grocery store at midnight buying another bag because it's got that addictive substance. So just look for those triggers. You're going to see it everywhere. All right, we're going to get the potato water in here. And hopefully I can do this right the first time. I might need to add a little more water to this. I'll see how it goes here. It takes about a minute to blend, so let's get this thing going. So just like that, we made cheese out of potatoes and carrots. Now, this does have some brown specks on it because I did not peel the potatoes and the carrots. But I was at my sister's house getting her healthy. So we peeled all the potatoes and the carrots. She had a bunch of football players coming over. None of them knew that it was not that cheddar cheese for nachos. Yeah, and you can use this for queso dips, add green chilies or salsas, soup bases, potato cheese, broccoli cheese soup, macaroni and cheese. Just take cooked macaroni, add this to it, you're done. Put some breadcrumbs on it and toast it in the oven, baked macaroni and cheese. This pot right here is a steamer. And so we can actually steam all different types of vegetables. And then you plate it up, pour the cheese over the top, and you're good to go. Now you can freeze this. If you freeze it, you're going to see some water separation. So I just drain the water off of it, reheat it, and then you're going to have to reblend it. Or I've got an immersion blender, just zip, zip, zip. Or just take a wire whip if you want. If you refrigerate this without freezing it, you will actually not have to do one single thing. It will melt right back down into cheese. No whipping or anything. And it'll last in the fridge for a couple weeks. Now right here, 45 minutes later, our bulgur wheat is perfect. So what you'd have here is the bean pot. You put the bulgur wheat on top. This would be called a 2-component soup. That means you get $20 for it in a restaurant in Vegas. 3 components, you get $25. We get those edible flowers, $30 all day long. Yeah. All right, I've got a watermelon here. I'm going to chop up real quick, and they're getting far and few between, though. And my mom, she didn't get too many watermelons. She was always like, oh, they're so expensive. And she did not want to carry them home from the grocery store. That was a big issue. Or she'd be like, they just take up so much room in the fridge. And they're so tough to cut. And I was like, come here, Mom. Let me show you how to cut a watermelon. So, and you'll notice anytime I'm cutting up here, I get rid of whatever's not going to be served. So the only thing left on your cutting board is what you're actually consuming. Then you start breaking it down more. And of course, like if you wanted to trim this up a little bit, you can. Little piece there. And then all you have to do is take a couple slices sideways like this. Of course, if you're going to do this at home, don't put your hand on this side, okay? Yeah, keep your hand on top behind the knife. And then you just do checkerboards on the top. And you can make these checkerboards as big or as small as you want too, because you're going to go this way too. And literally, in 1 minute, you got your entire watermelon cut up. How's that? Easy enough? Yeah, I should have been a cook. Watch, Pastor, next time you have a fellowship meal, you're going to have 50 people all bringing watermelon. Okay, I've got one more book for you here. We should be ready to eat pretty quick. Boom, 2 points. This one's called Counsels in Diets and Foods. Really good book, a lot of tidbits of knowledge. I'll just read this part. Cooking may be regarded as less desirable than other lines of work, but in reality, it is a science in value above all other sciences. Thus, God regards the preparation of healthful food. He places high estimate on those who do faithful service in preparing wholesome, palatable food. And the ones who understand the art of properly preparing food and who use this knowledge are worthy of higher commendations than those engaged in any other line of work. So if you're doing the cooking at home, you just got a raise. Think about it. Biggest meal for breakfast. It's the least expensive meal of the day. You go out for lunch, it's more expensive, right? Dinner's like way more expensive. So you might as well have your biggest consumption during the least expensive items to consume. It's going to save you a ton of money. And if you're eating those healthy carbs like you're supposed to, yeah, they're the least expensive of anything. But it's got to be the complex carbs, not the simple carbs, all right? Eat the potato, not the potato chip. Beans, rice, oats. These are your healthy carbs. And there's a couple books on the back of the flyer showing how the people that eat the most healthy carbs are the healthiest of anybody. And if somebody's telling you to stay away from carbs, they have no clue what a carb is. Blueberries, 14% carbs. Oats is 66%. Bananas, 23%. Potatoes is 20%. Chickpeas is 27% carbs. Orange is 11%. Beets is 10% carbs. Are you telling me I'm not supposed to eat these healthy foods? But once they become processed, they become calorie dense. The satiety rating's gone, and that's when they start causing harm. So there's a whole difference between the whole complex carbs and the simple carbs. She continues here. This is because it is so inseparably connected with life and health that cooking is the most valuable of all gifts. The reason I point this out, what did the devil go after with Adam and Eve? Anybody know? Appetite. Food. Good answers. Satan loves to go after the body because he knows first you get the body, then you get the mind, and then you get the spirit. And we've heard that phrase before, right? Body, mind, and spirit. It's in that exact order. He's going after our kids' bodies, especially with chemicals nowadays and pesticides. And he was going after our bodies before we were ever even born. He's already attacking the body. So all we're doing is simply reversing the process. When you start getting healthier physically, then you're going to start getting healthier mentally, and then you're going to have a far better connection with God. It is all connected in such a way. Framingham Medical Studies, that was the other one that I was going to point out. They show where when you eliminate those animal fats from your blood cells, you get the right amount of oxygen in your blood. That's what filters out all these harmful particles on a daily basis. It's like getting a detox every day. But when you coat your blood with animal fat, then you can't get the right amount of oxygen that you need. And they found out you get that animal fat off your brain cells, and people actually end up having far higher brain activity. And that's just their quote. My quote, it just makes you smarter. I just think we need to make better choices. Okay, make better choices when you go to the grocery store. Make better choices when you go out to eat. I go to Taco Bell, no cheese, no sour cream, Fresca menu. Subway has veggie subs. You can make good choices out there. And if you're traveling, be prepared. Get everything you need for that trip, especially truckers, people that are on the road. If you're not prepared, when you get hungry, you're going to settle for whatever's at the next exit. That's the way it is. So you got to be prepared. And it does domino effect in your relationship with God. And look, I could be back in Vegas making top dollar catering for all these celebrities like I used to. But God has just inspired me after me losing all this weight and everything. I still got part here that just hangs because I was so overweight. I'm working on it. Sometimes it takes time. Just be consistent and be persistent. But I'd like to just impress you to start being that inspiration in this community. If you're living a healthy life now, just get out there and start sharing it with people. There's so many people that don't have a clue where to start because of this massive false information internet system. And but this Plant Strong whole food has the science. It has the statistics. It is a proven track record. And and if you're not healthy now and you start making changes, let me tell you, people are going to see that. And they're going to be like, wow, what have you been doing? And then you can be a serious inspiration for your neighbors and your coworkers and your friends and family and things like that. So, amen. Now we're going to take up a donation. And just to let you know, your donations do more than cover my food cost. My traveling expenses are way higher than food cost. In fact, we just had to buy van number 4. And because we do a lot of miles. And more than that, you're my sponsors for all of these cooking shows that we do on television. We have 94 one-hour programs that are airing on 4 different nonprofit networks. So we don't have sponsors on these nonprofit networks. for some reason, Kraft Foods would not sponsor us. So you guys get to be my sponsors to help me produce those programs, and that takes a lot of time and money to do as well. Oh wait, we were going to do a drawing though, weren't we? First, let's grab those tickets because we're going to have a drawing to see who's going to do the dishes. Y'all didn't know what you're drawing for.
Hey, Chef, I got a question.
Yes.
Over the years, I've been growing various food allergies when it comes to vegetables or fruits. Watermelon, just love it. Closed up my foot.
Wow.
Pineapple, I just love it. Get more. So how do you develop that, or how do you?
That I don't know. Every body is a little bit different, so a lot of allergies usually relates back to milk or cheese, but it's hard to say. Every individual's, a little bit different. So, and.
Are you eating milk and cheese? Well, I've developed those allergies earlier than my consumption.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, it's becoming more and more the melon group.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, over the years,
Yeah.
it's developed color.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one before. But let anybody draw names. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 drawings here. Joanne Emery. This is my little inspirations pocketbook. And Leonard M. Pleasant. Where? Okay, I'll give that to you then. Ray E.G.L. Ray. Okay. This is my testimony book called From Sin City to Simplicity. Alicia Garnett. Okay. And I got 3 more left. Carmen. Just Carmen. Okay. And this one's Phyllis Zunica, maybe?
Zunica, yeah.
Okay. This is my DVD. It's called The Cutting Edge, How to Chop Like a Pro. Shows you how to cut everything in the kitchen, except your fingers. Yep, last one. Isabel Wallen. You bet. So we've got these donation bags. We're going to pass these around the room. And like I said, your donations is what keeps me going. And so I'm able to continue all over the country like this. You can always make checks payable to Mark Anthony. And I think we'll just kind of let these float to the back of the room here. And I'll put one right here. You can let that one float down that way. And let this one float down this way. And that one you can float for donations. Yeah. So. And then I'll get ready to start serving up here. Yeah, and I definitely want to thank the Seventh-day Adventist Church over here for inviting me to come down. You got a nice facility here to do events at, so that's a real blessing. We might have to plan on doing something later next year. Yeah. Maybe I'll give you my class about why you need to eat more carbs. Yeah, that's quite the scientific class.
Well, do you need to come to church more often?
That's a whole class in itself too. Yeah. Okay. And if somebody missed it, I'll have the bags right here. I do have a book table here too. This really helps our ministry keep going. And I've got some fabulous books here. This is the newest book right here, Simply Incredible Flavor. 6 doctors' recommendations on it already, including Dr. Michael Greger. So, basically, I try to tell people just keep taking those steps. Be consistent, be persistent. Let me share with you the scripture that really changed the way I think. And it would have to be Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Y'all know this one? All right, that's not the meaning of that scripture. In the original Greek, there's never the word can in there. See, I can do all things is all about self. And it doesn't even mean you will just because you can. See, so you got to get the word can out of there. And then it goes like this. I do all things through Christ who strengthens me. See, that's all about conviction. What a difference that scripture makes when you get yourself out of the way. And if you will simply put godly conviction in your diet, God will do amazing things with your health. Be consistent, be persistent. Really, we just need to train ourselves. Or actually, what we need to do is we need to retrain ourselves because we were not trained right the first time. And once you get your bodies retrained into the way you should have been eating all along, you can look back like I do. I can't believe I used to eat the way I used to eat. And I've caused a lot of damage, but I've had quite the amazing transformation just by learning how to eat healthier. So, amen. Mm-hmm. Breakfast, I do a lot of the healthy carbs. I load up on carbs because that fuel is going to burn throughout the day. And lots of breakfast burritos, waffles, and oatmeal. I mean, I do oatmeal almost every morning, so steel cut. Now we're going to have a buffet line coming right through here. I think we'll just start, table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, table 5, table 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll need some volunteers. I'm going to need about 3 or 4 volunteers to help serve. But I think I'll have a prayer over the meal, and then we can get ready and start. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for bringing us all together. We thank you for the food that you provide in nourishing our bodies, and we just ask those blessings to help keep us healthy, not just physically, Lord. We want to be strengthened mentally so we can spiritually be closer to you, and which really is our purpose here on earth, is to learn more about this amazing love that you have for us. So we just pray so many thanks in Jesus' name. Amen. So we'll get the first table lined up and some volunteers to help serve, and we'll be ready.